all we're going to do in any case is we'll finish off what we were talking about, because technically the last lesson is a practical lesson, which obviously we can't really do. So I'm going to show it to you, but that's about it, just so that you have an understanding of what you should be able to do. Okay, so we spoke about creating a website, the do's and the don'ts, and this is where we stopped. There are questions that can be placed into 8 different categories. Those categories are content, community, communication, commerce, monetization, movement, management, and measurement. So if we look at them from an individual perspective and just with regards to what it is that you need to include in them, the first one there starts with content. There are quite a few questions that you need to be able to ask yourself within them. And it starts with, who is the site targeting? So when you create a website, you need to be able to tell me who you are targeting, who is your average user. The same as if you have a radio station or a show, you should know who you are talking to. What type of content will be featured on your website? So who will be responsible for producing this content? How often does the content need to be refreshed? Who will be responsible for its implementation? Will the content be delivered in the form of text or audio or video? What type of technical platforms do you need? Are you going to be syndicating your content with iTunes or Shoutcast or any of those internet pages, yellow pages kind of websites, or any of the music sites that you find these days? Are you going to connect or require any RSS, so really simple syndication feed functionality? Normally, that is what you use for podcasts in order for you to be able to share your content with other websites across the board. So is any of your content going to be repackaged for emails? Or what is the mobile experience that people will find? What is from a phone perspective, if I go on your website on my phone, what experience can I have? Is your website made for me to be able to use it on my phone as well? Okay. And then lastly, how are you going to optimize it for search engines? Once again, search engine optimization. So that is the kind of questions you have to be able to answer under content. Then when it comes to community, does your website give the audience freedom to establish a community around your content? So can we have co-creation of content? Is there like a social networking forum or commenting post functionality? Does your content lend itself to augmentation of user-generated content? How are you harnessing the traffic on your website? Are you managing a database of users that you have on your website? Is there some sort of an incentive for your users to communicate with each other on this website? Think about games. Like if you partner up with a game and you, I don't know, do really well, then you earn something. Do you have an active email database that you can use? Once again, can you use Facebook or any social media platform actually, like a community API? API means application programming interface. So do you need something like that? And this is a way that you, in essence, make one app talk to another app. So kind of like how Instagram is connected to Facebook, how you post one thing on the one and then it goes to the other. So they're talking to one another. So do you need a function like that? Do you have a function like that? Then number 3 there, communication. How will visitors interact with your brand? Do you have or need a listener relationship manager at the station who will be responsible for monitoring the social media? The commercial radio stations have someone that is purely dedicated to this. This is their job. They look and post every single day on the various platforms. And this is not necessarily the same person as the person who does the postings on the website. So you can have someone different for social media and someone different for the website even. Okay. Do you have a policy for on-air talent and how quickly listeners should receive a response on an email from you? Do you need any specific technology to facilitate communication between your staff and visitors, for instance? or chat rooms or instant messengers or live operators via AI, something like that. Commerce is only applicable if you want to sell something, if you're going to be promoting something that you need to make money from. Monetization, again, are you selling something online or not? So this is more business to business transactions. So I'm not really going to go into that. Movement. This is how you're going to traffic listeners onto the website and through your website. So how are you sending people to the website and through the website? Here you need to look at what is the strategy to move visitors to your website. How will you get people to go and visit your website? Are you doing some sort of a competition on air where you say that you're giving away these 100 prizes to the next 100 people who sign up, or whatever it might be, or perhaps there are concerts that you're streaming live only on your web site, or specific competitions that won't be on air at all, that's only on there, whatever it might be. How are you, what is your strategy to move visitors to your website? Then how are you going to use search engines to direct interested customers to this website? Has your site been optimized for search engines? So again, search engine optimization, SEO. And how do you maintain healthy search engine friendly sites? What type of on-air cross promotions will be utilized to support your website? Are you streaming? Are you doing cross promotions from your website to your on-air properties and vice versa? How will you retain visitors on the website for more than 3 pages, which is the average number of pages viewed on any website? So how will you get people to visit more than 3 pages? How are you going to clear the clutter on your website to make sure that there aren't too many banners and tiles with things that have no content in it? What information will be stored about your user each time that they visit it, so that you can make sure to make the experience as relevant and relatable to them as possible, which is exactly what social media does for you every single time that you go on to social media. Then when it comes to management, it's more a case of who will lead the initiative inside the radio station. Will this fall under the marketing manager? Do you have a content management system? What systems do you have in place to traffic your ads? So can you use that to also help you with scheduling on the website? Who will lead the sales initiatives for your website? What type of skills or training do they need from analog to this digital space that we're in currently? And then the last one is measurement. So in essence, what it comes down to is, what metrics program will you use? There's a lot of free metrics programs. Google, for instance, has one. Also, a lot of really great paid for metrics programs that big companies use so that they can get the stats. There's also companies that can give you competitor stats on their website so that you can see who is doing better than you and what are they doing different, etc. What type of reports will be opened to the sales staff on a regular basis so that they can see what's happening? How often will you review the metrics and look at your content strategy? Okay, because this is really important. As mentioned yesterday, it's just as important as the content going out on air on a day-to-day basis. It's important that you strategize your website content, which means you need to do regular audits on your stats and see what you can learn from how the audiences are using your websites. Then when it comes to a blog, a lot of online only shows are building large audiences, large niche audiences, but still large audiences. Because of this, even though the monetization of the internet is still a challenge, and we don't really have a lot of online radio stations that are making money, but you can make money through podcasts, okay? Because it's easy to verify who's using your product. It's easy to understand the clientele in order for you to sell it. So powerful radio creates a bond between a listener, the radio station, and their personalities. What we're trying to do here is to utilize those relationships that the personalities and the listeners have through a blog or a vlog or a podcast, whatever it might be. Okay. So it's another way that we can make a deeper connection with our listeners, between the personality and the audience. So when you use social media or digital media for online professional purposes, it's really important that you understand how to use it and how to use it carefully and well. Why? Because audiences, no matter how devoted, don't care what you had for breakfast. So they will care about stuff that, if you were somewhere and you saw the members of a famous band or music group singing happy birthday to you in harmony with somebody's daughter at a local breakfast spot, for instance, especially if you recorded it. So it's all about how you make use of the content. So content is king, context is queen. Okay, so it's really important that you just be careful about to make sure what you post. Then before we get into those top 10 tips, make sure to consider that there's a difference between personal and between private. You need to be able to make this distinction. If you friend your mom on Facebook, or on your Facebook work page, rather, make sure that she understands when she posts there, it's like visiting you at your office. It's got the same kind of look and feel to it. Your personal life, even though it's your work page, you will have the same understanding of how to act as you would at the office. When you think about your radio station's Facebook page as a whole, think about the fact that the listeners are there. And you also need to be there, but you need to be smart about it. Just like when someone comes to visit you at the office. So don't just put a link on your station's website to Facebook, for instance, because that creates an extra door for them. You need to give your audience a way to use Facebook that drives traffic and interest back to your brands. Use sharing and collaboration tools like the API, which we spoke about earlier. In other words, connect Facebook and your website to each other so that your audience can seamlessly integrate from your website into their Facebook experience without it changing anything per se, if I can say it like that. Okay. And remember to post regularly and make sure that it relates back to you, but in such a way that you aren't pushing anyone away. Okay. You're not having private conversations. So if we have a look at the top 10 tips on blogging, number 1, set aside a regular time to write. That's really important. Consistency is key. If you want your blog to become part of someone's day, you have to commit to making it part of yours. Otherwise, they're not going to keep coming back. Number 2, once you start it, keep writing. Okay. How many times have you gone onto someone's website or blog only to find that they haven't updated it since the last time that you were there? If there's no promise of something new on a set basis, what incentive is there for someone to check in on your thoughts? Why will I come back if there's nothing new? Be prepared, number 3 there, to answer emails in response to your comments. So you need to be able to provide feedback. Number 4, late listeners feel like they're missing something if they don't visit your site regularly. So it can be your take on current events, your random thoughts, or even behind the scenes stories about the latest going on during your show, giving them an inside look that they might not have elsewhere. Okay, so don't be boring. That's the biggest thing. Be open, number 5. So be open, but at the same time, be careful about revealing too much about your personal life. Too many details can create resentment or erode the image that a listener has of you. So if you spend your Friday and Saturday nights drinking and partying hard, that can be seen as too much information, okay, TMI, when it comes to the respect that they have for you. So it's about that fine line. And number 6, remember that anything you write is open to the world. Anything you put out there can be found at any time, okay? If you might just have 50 readers or viewers, whatever, on your blog or vlog, whatever it is, but it takes only one cut and paste, right, to send it to someone that you've dissed or to a potential employer. Whatever you put on the internet is there forever. So you don't want your 40-year-old self paying the price for what your 25-year-old self did out of anger or out of jest. So keep that into consideration. Number 7, unless you're clearly saying that you're going to do something, don't use your blog as a means of promoting a product or services. Okay, so if you're invited to a restaurant by the owners, then tell people that. Okay, tell them that you went to a restaurant, they invited you there, give them your thoughts, but be honest, because it's all about integrity. There's a difference between being an influencer and selling your soul to the devil. You need to still be honest. Because if someone feels that you're trying to manipulate them, they're not going to trust you anymore, okay? So be as honest and transparent as you possibly can. Number 8 there, let people know if you're going to be appearing publicly, if you are like a celeb, and invite them to join you, okay? But remember to ask yourself, what is in it for them? Why would they come and join you? What else is happening? Like, what is the draw card here? Then number 9, write about you, but write about them too. So you'll find that the blogs that touch the most people are the ones that you're sharing an experience with that's not only personal, but universal, okay? It can be funny or it can be sad, but there's some sort of a familiarity between you and the reader or the listener or the viewer, okay? And that connection is important because that is how you make how you get them to trust you and to be loyal to you, become loyal to you, to create that connection. Think about Hillary lost the election back in the day against Obama. They thought she was going to win straight off the bat, okay? But she had social media. But what did she do on social media? She spoke about herself. What did Obama do? He friended other people also. He responded. He reacted to what people said to him, which she did not do. So he made connections. She didn't. Very important there. And lastly, number 10, keep it real. There's a reason that listeners, so your listeners on your station will become your readers. Okay. Reward them for visiting your blog with fresh insights or humor or information, something to keep them coming back. Remember FUBby. So fun or funny, useful, bold, beautiful, inspiring content. That's the kind of stuff that we want. So when it comes to your social media plan, remember to keep it simple. Be clear about why you're using social media. Set your own goals and manage your expectations from the beginning. Typical social media goals is to build relationships, search engine optimization, aka improving your website's ranking, growing your targeted following, and owning that specific story online. So how do you reach your goals? Number 1, have a business plan. Create a business plan that defines your target audience. So understand how and when your target audience uses social media and be there when they are there. That's important. Number 2, understand your purpose. Is it for awareness, entertainment, to sell the audience something? Do you want branding or loyalty or a call to action? Does your audience know about you today? Okay, a solid strategy will translate across all platforms. It's really important. And we do this for every single advertising campaign, marketing campaign that we do. We have this purpose. We understand our purpose. Number 3, if you're driving traffic to a website, make sure that it looks pretty, that it's in aesthetic shape. If you need to, hire someone to help you, okay? But it's important that it looks professional and looks pretty and it looks similar to your brand, the same way that your imaging, radio imaging, has a specific type of sound. Your website needs to have a specific look and feel. Then number 4, your sociality should reflect you. So what This is what shows your character. Okay, this is where your character shines through. Include your brand's unique attributes, your behavioral, your temperamental, or your emotional, or your mental attributes. So, are you sassy, or are you entertaining? Are you funny? Are you educational? Are you motivational? Whatever it is, should reflect here. Content is king. Okay. Without giving value to your audience, you will inevitably get a so what from them. Okay. It's like, why do I care? So, but as much as content is king, context is queen once again. And number 6, they speak with your audience, not at them. Social media is about communicating and using generated content. So it's not about what I'm doing, it's about what are you doing? That's really important. Okay. You constantly need to engage with your audience and ask about them. You need to seem like you care about them. So if you're not having success on social media, it might be because of the kind of person that you are in real life. Okay. No one can help you to change in this kind of sphere. So just make sure that when you're interacting with your audience, that you care about them also. So remember them once again. Think about Hillary versus Obama. Then there are a couple of social media tips, things that you can keep in mind to protect your brand and credibility. Don't write anonymously or use an avatar or username that cloaks your real identity. So write as who you really are, okay? Because this is your perspective. It is your input, your seeing on this specific matter. Remember that what's posted online is open to the public. Personal and professional lives merge online. We know this. So search engines and social mapping sites can locate your posts and link people's names to your employers. So important to note, everything gets linked. Avoid posting photos or any content on any website, blog, social network, or video or photo sharing website that might embarrass you or undermine your journalistic credibility. Don't post a photo or let anyone post a photo of you, I don't know, sleeping in a ditch at 5 a.m, for instance. So keep this in mind, even when you're posting on what you believe is a private or a password protected website. Also, when people take pictures of you at social gatherings, keep this in mind. Keep in mind the kind of pictures that they are taking. Keep in mind where this is going, how it will look online, okay, with regards to your personal brand. That, in essence, brings us to the end of websites and blogs, etc. So it's all about how and what you're posting on social media, which is really, really important. Keep in mind, it's never going to disappear once it's out there. So the how isn't as important as the what of the content, even though new media allows for it to be instantly delivered. Involving your audience is still the key to growing your audience. Always keep on top of new developing platforms with regards to what is happening in the world, especially currently with AI and how you can utilize this. Understand the safety measures, understand that geolocation gets shared, okay? Make sure when to put on and when to have your geolocation off, even on photos. Content is king, but context is queen. And that is the end of this lesson. So I just quickly want to show you what lesson 28 is. So what you would have done for me is to do an activity, okay, where you would have done some sort of content for me. So whether it was a photo montage or a slideshow of a station event or on-air staff and day-to-day station operations, to uploading a video of you doing a new music review or a concert review or a celebrity gossip report or the station's latest live remote broadcast or some sort of other event to YouTube. What you would have done is, in essence, created a piece of content that we could have used on a website. That's what it comes down to. Keeping in mind things like photo releases, video releases, because we can't simply post things without getting people's consent. We literally get consent release forms for everything that we do. especially also with the Poppy Act, I need to give my yes, the go ahead for you to use my content. And then as you create your content, keep in mind that it will be posted on the radio station's website. So it needs to be appropriate and represent your best work. So with keeping in mind everything we've just gone through. So the idea would have been that you would be creating a piece of content as, for instance, someone who works for the website of the specific radio station, who does a specific type of content piece on a daily or a weekly basis, whatever it might be. It's just whether you can take the knowing side of what we've done now and change it into doing. So whether you can actively create content for a podcast, for a blog, for a vlog, for a specific niche target market. Okay, so that's what you should be able to do now. Well, then that brings us to the end of this semester and this module. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye.
You too. Bye.